And always great to welcome everybody back and talk to the film guy, especially after an amazing weekend. And Brooks Austin, good to see you again. Let's get back to the tape on Tennessee and Georgia. I know you dug very, very deep into this one.
Yeah, a lot of points, Paul. A lot of points. I think for the first time in the Josh Heupel era, they were able to successfully run the football. Thus, they were able to successfully take a bunch of shots downfield. Like, it's one thing I think a lot of people talked about the difference between Joey's deep ball accuracy and Nico's. That's quantified in the stats. But what you have to go really look for and find it within the game is how many opportunities Tennessee earned to be in 2nd and 3, to be in 2nd and 4, right? So they can take those shots, and if they are incomplete, still live on a playable down in 3rd and 4. In years prior, Paul, they just not have been able to run the ball very successfully and thus not been able to take those shots downfield because they've been behind the sticks. I thought that was the most obvious and apparent thing to me when I turned it on.
So let's get deeper into it because everybody's got an opinion on Aguilar and, of course, on Gunner. So what did you see?
You know, to start the football game, he's 14 for 14 is Aguilar. They make one subtle adjustment defensively midway through that second quarter. They go from playing 2 safeties back there, Paul, to just playing 1. That other safety ended up near and around the box. And if you watch that football game, Tennessee wide receivers were getting hit really, really hard on those crossing routes midway through that second and third quarter. And like most good coordinators do, Heupel had another adjustment for him. That Braylon Staley touchdown was just a response off of the changes that Georgia had made defensively. If you go back and watch that game, Paul, really closely, you'll see 3 big-time plays for Tennessee that flipped that game on its head, right? Both Chris Brazzell receptions and that Braylon Staley touchdown late in the third quarter that they answered with. That's Tennessee football. If they can get those opportunities and complete them, man, they're going to put up 40 points. I saw a stat the other day that said Josh Heupel has scored 40-plus points in like 54% of the football games that this guy has coached. He's going to put it up. It's just the first time he's been able to really do it against Schumann and Smart, which was even more impressive, honestly.
So at the end of 63 minutes or whatever it was, what changed about your opinion of both schools?
I mean, what changed for me is that I didn't know if Gunner Stockton could go into a football game and say, hey, we need you to throw it 35 times today for 300 yards if we're going to get out of here and win. Oh, by the way, we need to score 44 points. That was a little bit surprising to me. Honestly, Paul, I think I came on here last week and said Georgia's going to have to run the ball and play defense and get out of there with the win. So for them to go out there and put up 500 yards of total offense, that was relatively surprising to me. I left thinking I watched 2 college football playoff teams. I know this conference normally gets 3. There's an opportunity with Notre Dame sliding that there's a chance that the SEC might get 4 this year. And I think I watched 2 of the 4 this past weekend. Tennessee's only going to get healthier. Georgia's quarterback situation is only going to get more confident and explosive down the field. I liked what I saw from both of those football teams out there in Knoxville last week, Paul.
Brooks Austin, let me get to the featured game of this weekend. That's Jackson Arnold's return. Mateer, everybody loves. What gives here?
Man, what gives is which one of these quarterbacks can withstand 4 quarters of carries, because I think that's what it's going to require. If you're watching Oklahoma this year, you will notice that Mateer is dynamic with his arm. He's making a lot of big-time throws. It's been really fun to watch. But the real crux of their offense is what they call the +1 running game, right? The quarterback run game out there at Oklahoma with Ben Arbuckle. It was a main feature at Washington State. It's been an even more main feature in big-time football games for them. We saw it get dusted off pretty heavily against Michigan. I would imagine the same thing gets dusted off against this Auburn football program rolling in. And Auburn on the other side, Paul, they have made it a concerted effort. This wasn't no one-game blimp on the radar with regards to Jackson Arnold's rushing carries. They're going to be running the quarterback the rest of the season, I imagine. They were willing to do so against South Alabama. I mean, heck, I turned the tape on a 3rd and 4, and Jackson Arnold's lowering his shoulder, running over a safety with a 15-point lead in the second quarter. This is very much so an identity thing for Auburn. So if you're turning it on thinking, oh, well, they're not going to keep doing that. Yes, they are. You better get ready for quarterback run and being able to stop it this weekend. My biggest concern going into this for Auburn is these check with me offenses, right? You see these offenses that are looking to the sideline all the time, waiting for coach to call in a new play. Well, buddy, we got 87,000 Screaming Sooner fans nowadays when we go on the road when we do that. It's why some of these offenses don't travel so well, right? Auburn historically has a tough time traveling. Ole Miss has a historically tough time traveling, right? These offenses that want to play with a lot of pace and look towards the sideline for the coach to give me the right answer, those things don't necessarily travel too well, and I worry about that this week for Auburn.
Let me get to Carson Beck, a little bit of a different
Yeah.
scenario. He's playing at home. He's not going back to Georgia. He's playing Florida, but he's playing well for Miami.
Yeah, I mean, Carson's playing great. I mean, he's playing the type of football from within the pocket that I expect him to, right? Really, really clean with his protections, manages pockets really well. He's a dynamic thrower from within the pocket. He's extremely accurate. He makes great decisions. To me, he's always been a Sunday football player from inside the pocket. It's the lack of willingness to compete with his legs over the years that have really caused concern for me, particularly on the college level. If your quarterback's not going to get involved with the run game, you get really, really honed in on by defenses. You saw it in the fourth quarter against that Notre Dame team. Miami was failing to run the football. That's why that game got really, really tight late in the fourth quarter. But I turned the tape on against South Florida, man, and the first opportunity that Carson Beck's got the chance to keep the football and compete with his legs, by God, he was doing it in that football game. I think he had 3 or 4 traditional keeps in that game. That was more than I had seen in 2 years as a starter at the University of Georgia. Somebody has gotten into his head and said, son, we got to be able to compete a little bit more with our legs. We know you're a great passer. We got to help out our run game a little bit. He's doing that right now. And I got to be honest, Paul, I'm really concerned for a Florida football team that I thought put together their we're going to go win one for the Gipper type of performance last week at LSU. And that was gut-wrenching for them. This is the type of Miami line of scrimmage that if you've got any questions about effort, if you've got any questions about whether or not we're going to put it on the line today, they're going to break your will. 2 players to watch on Saturday, Inez Cooper and Francis, the right tackle over there from Miami. Forgive me, Francis, for not butchering your last name right now on national television. Those are the 2 best right guard and right tackle combinations in all of college football, and I think they're going to break some wills on Saturday.
Two quarterbacks I want to ask you about. One we heard from Brian Kelly on. The other one, I don't know what we heard from his coach. The 2 quarterbacks are pretty obvious. Garrett Nussmeier and Cade Klubnik. What are you seeing?
So I heard that Garrett's kind of hurt, something internally, something within him. But for me, every time I turn Garrett on right now, they can't run the football. He's not really all that dynamic with his legs, so it's not like they're going to be moving him out of the pocket. So they can't run the football. And for 2 straight years, they haven't consistently been able to protect him. I mean, I turned the tape on against Louisiana Tech, and he's running for his life against the Bulldogs. Like, they can't really protect him, and it's been 2 straight years of that. So when I turn Garrett on, I don't see some quarterback losing his mind or losing his ability to play or losing his accuracy or making bad decisions. I'm fine with what's going on with Garrett. Now, with regards to Clemson, there's a lot of schematical stuff that just does not make sense, and it would take way too long to even talk about it right now. But I was kind of alerted to this last year watching them play Texas when I'm charting their throws, Paul. In the first 25 throws in that football game, they don't throw the ball past 5 yards past the line of scrimmage. Like, they never once threatened Texas. And then finally, midway through the third, they did. And now all of a sudden their offense is picking up. And it's just like those little things right there are lack of ability to, like, dynamically call plays. And when we get into situations like against Georgia Tech where possessions are limited, man, we can't be out here burning possessions offensively, which I feel like Clemson does quite often, where just schematically they're a mess, and now all of a sudden it's 2nd and 12, and we have no ability to win offensively today.
No one better than Brooks. Many thanks, Brooks. We will check back with you in a couple of days after this weekend's game and look ahead to some monster games the following week. Why don't we get you to the break here, get some calls in. We also have an outstanding young player from the University of Kentucky in the next hour. We're coming right back.